Zone Friends. I'm Janias, Javon, Khalil, and our special guest, Tashawn Taylor, one of the biggest rappers in Boston. This guy is talented, guys, so stay
On the
tuned.
come up, man. All right, bro. How you been though? How you been? The time like we met up during Year Up, and when we shot that music video. It's been a really long time since then.
Oh,
So
dude, yo, holy I completely forgot you was there for Yo, that's crazy. Bro, yeah, he was there for the fucking Mustang video, and that shit was mad fun. That shit
that
was.
was honestly fun as hell. Like I really liked that music video, and just the production that went into it was really good. Like the editing and like it was really good. I really liked how the camera work that was done. It was really professional.
Yeah, shout out to the dudes, Paris. I mean, I think that's his name. It was like Paris, and I forgot what the other dude's name is. It started with like a S, I think. But like, I haven't seen him in a minute. But those dudes,
I
they
would
still
imagine.
getting down. They do videos like for a lot of artists around Boston and everything. And I was like, yo, these guys are the real deal,
They look
honestly.
They
professional.
did. They really did seem like the real deal. They were cool too. Like they were really cool, and just the stuff that we were just like improvising to do, and it really worked out. Like the golf cart, like that
Yo,
scene was
that was
honestly
actually the
fire.
craziest shit. That was actually the
Yeah,
craziest shit.
it like didn't work, so we were just pushing it. It was just shooting it. It just worked perfectly fine.
That was actually the craziest shit. They was like, yeah, this golf cart don't work, but we're like, can we use it for a music video?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and it just had like there was just so much stuff, and then like the smoke, like the natural smoke that the forest was like giving off. I
I
think
did
that's
not.
what was happening, or is it
Yeah,
a
that's
machine?
exactly what was happening. I did not see that coming.
Yeah,
Nobody
that
saw
was
that coming.
fire. That was fire. That
We saw
music
that.
video was just all around fun.
We saw that. We were like, yo, we
We gotta get that.
Hey,
So that pretty much happened. And it did surprising. It did really well. At least I think it did. And a lot of it was just like going back and watching the video again. It was a lot of things you may not notice. I think it really did age well.
yeah.
It was shot well. It was directed well, and the message of the song still stands. Like it's a pretty nice song.
High key, like I've always been super proud of that song, and to this day, I think it is one of my favorite songs. But
Rightfully so.
I'm
Like
gonna keep it real. I actually fucking hate performing it now. Like
you know,
there's
I
so
did
much
see
like
some of the performances.
bro. I love that song to death, but I'm just like, damn, like every time, like when that song actually dropped, people were like, yo, when you like come to do this, like
You gotta
you
perform it.
have to perform Mustang.
Yes, yes. But it's so good. It's so good. Like you listen to the song and you're just like, wow, like this is actually really, really good. So they're gonna obviously be like, oh well, you gotta perform. It's like this is a song everybody's waiting. You're just like, I got other stuff too though. Like
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I was like, I hate performing that song, but it's only because I want to show new shit. But it's like when I think about that song particularly, I'm like, yo, if I could just perform this song for the rest of my life, it's gonna piss me off, but I'll be okay with it. Cause like
yeah.
if the song makes people happy like that, because like usually when people describe the song, to me at least, they're just like, yo, like this song makes me feel happy. This song's turned. This song is this. I'm like, all right, let's do it. You know what I mean? And that's the funny thing about being like a rapper. It's like you never really know how your shit's gonna be perceived because
Yeah.
I've also been trying this thing where like I intentionally make bad music, and even then people would like like even like people in my close circle would be like, yo, this shit made me so happy, like I was in a really sad state, but like this actually made me feel happy, and I'm like, what the fuck. I was just like, yo, what the fuck.
You know what I
And I'm
can't get
just
out of my
like,
head though? Javon
huh.
dancing, and I can't get Javon dancing in your music video out of my head. Like that was,
Yeah,
I don't
but it
know.
was a
Arm
vibe.
swing,
It
bro.
was
But
a vibe. Like, listen, trust me. Like, if they look, they know me. That's why they think it's like hilarious. Trust me. But it was a vibe. I didn't care. I look back at that. I'm like, I'm glad I showed it.
No, I'm glad you did too. I was hitting up everybody in my contacts, and I was like, yo, he hit me back. I'm like, let's fucking go. I literally was about to clean out my whole fucking contact list, like everybody. I would be like, yo, y'all niggas gotta come out and shoot a music video. It's gonna be lit. Like, I'm like a lot more reserved about it now because like I'm still like, all right, how am I gonna shoot a lit ass music video during a pandemic?
right.
Because that's kind of what I do miss. I do miss like, you know, shooting music videos like more than anything. I love that shit. That's so much fun. But like high key, I was just like, ah, oh, damn, I gotta do this like in a pandemic. Like I know people are like talking about how music venues are actually about to start opening up in Boston, but I'm like, yeah, all right, listen, anybody that has half a brain is not gonna go to any fucking music venue in person
Yeah.
or inspire other people to. And I know some folks have been doing that, but I'm just like, nigga, like it's just never gonna
Yeah,
end.
like I see that I see that show like social media where motherfuckers got like the whole club turned up, no masks on them, just like,
I'm like, oh
yo,
y'all,
what the fuck?
all y'all about to,
But
all y'all about to be like Chernobyl Diaries, my nigga.
Yo.
yo, facts.
Like, worse than it.
But
Nah,
that was
but
like
I'm sorry.
real quick. That was one of the questions I had. I just wanted to ask you, how has the pandemic really affected the grind so far for you, like on a personal level and like on a professional level?
Okay, on a professional level, it has given me a lot to think about because prior to the pandemic, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I'm gonna keep it real. I
Mm,
was I was an intern at WBUR. I was teaching kids how to rap. I was trying to work on my own shit. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was going in three different directions at once. Like one thing that I learned from like a conversation that I had with Catherine Norris, Catherine Morris, who is the founder of BAMS Fest. One thing that I've like learned about just being an artist is that you can't do three things at once. You have to like, you have to know about a lot of things, but you can't do everything at the same time. It's taxing as fuck. So prior to the pandemic, I was like, I'm just gonna do everything and anything that I can, and whatever happens, happens. When the shit started, it gave me a lot to think about because I was also like, okay, I'm overexerting myself for very little return on investment. Like I'm investing a lot of
I feel
energy
that.
and then not getting anything back. That's some bullshit.
Yo.
So what I ended up doing was being like, you know what? Instead of me just trying to drop track after track after track during the pandemic, what I'm going to do instead is actually like like actually set certain things up so people are actually going to hear me this time. Because when we were doing the pandemic, I was just kind of doing this without any kind of direction, or not necessarily doing without direction, but it felt like I was just kind of like trying to do so many things to more or less like get the blood flowing or just like get the work ethic up in a sense. But
Yeah.
like what it resulted in was just like a lot of like, really uninspired tunes. But then when I actually got back into the pandemic, it gave me a lot to think about, gave me a lot of inspiration to be like, you know what, where exactly do I want to go with this? What exactly do I want to tell people? Where exactly am I going to go from here? What exactly do I want to talk to people about? What exactly am I going to discuss with people? What kind of artist am I going to be? And I realized that the artist that I want to be isn't going to be the artist that everybody expects me to be. Because I've had a conversation about certain folks with other artists and like how they deal with like, racism and things like that. And then people be like, oh, I thought you were a woke rapper or some shit. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
I get that, bro.
like,
Like, nah,
Don't do that.
nah.
Don't do that.
I hate when people do that, especially they're like the try hard like liberals do. They're just like, oh, like I listen to your music for this, and it's just like, bro,
like,
it's just me being a decent person, bro. It's not that
I'm,
deep.
I'm a human fucking being at the end of the day. I'm not gonna be
Eggs,
here to scratch your fucking revolutionary itch, my nigga. I'm here to do me
eggs,
and talk about my
eggs, bro.
experience. That has nothing to do. Like that's another thing that I learned about the pandemic is that like regardless of what it is that I say, regardless of what it is, whatever it is that I am not your fucking fantasy. I am literally not anything that you want me to be because you're not that yourself. That's bullshit. That has nothing to do with me. Don't put that on me, my nigga. I'm just a nigga writing records. Okay, you want somebody that wants to be on
Yeah,
that woke performance
yeah.
shit?
No,
Listen to a nigga that do that
like,
shit.
oh,
That's not me.
yo,
Like there's so many art we could have like a 3 hour conversation just about like how like even like hip hop listeners will like expect so much out of like certain artists.
Right.
And it'll just be really, really taxing for just everybody in general. But it's just like that phrase got to me because at first I didn't even think that niggas knew my shit like that. I was like, oh, so you guys are listening. You know
Yeah, yeah, no,
like
yeah,
that was my response initially. I was like, oh, so you are listening to what I'm talking about.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But what it really comes down to is that they see an entertainment factor in the fact that I'm like being a huge bullshit detector when it comes to like societal norms or just like government or just like politics in general. When in reality,
Yeah.
I don't really give too much of a fucking shit about politics or anything like that. I don't really like talking about it because it pisses me off. What I really talk about
Yeah,
is just the
rightfully so.
experience. So that's the only thing. That's the only thing that I can talk about, and that's the only thing that I would. That's the only thing that I can give to you. I'm not gonna sit here and be like KRS-One and be like, all right, I'm gonna rap to you about the fucking pyramids and Mansa Musa and shit. Like that has nothing to do with me, nigga. I don't know about that shit.
Yo,
This is the knowledge.
Like
thanks.
niggas want me to be Ty Lopez with that shit. Like I'm good, bro. Like,
Yo,
and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with like KRS-One because at the end of the day, like he did give birth to like, intellectual shit when it came to hip hop, and you have to give credit to that because he was talking about politics when it wasn't cool to talk about politics.
oh yeah,
So
especially yeah.
he was
All
like
right,
the
make sure you say
Spike
that.
Lee of like hip hop. You
So
feel
you
me?
gonna say Khalil?
Yeah,
Huh?
I said definitely make sure you say that because all the boom bap rappers they're all gonna sit there and be like, yo, you hear this nigga, bro? Out here dissing one of the greats, bro. You hear this shit? They're gonna be on your post.
I
They're gonna be on your
Yo.
post. They're gonna
on
just
a
keep
regular
spamming Grandmaster
basis, bro.
Flash memes and shit.
Bro,
Yo,
wait until listen. I piss off boom bap niggas on a regular basis. I
As you should.
slander
you
account,
should.
bro.
Yo, Khalil, remember the hip hop debaters, dude? I'd be having flashbacks to that, bro.
Man, that place gave me PTSD, bro. You can't
Thanks.
say shit about Tupac in that group. Them niggas on your ass, boy.
Yo,
They're like, yo, I'm gonna dox you and I'm gonna swat you, bro. That's
On God.
bro,
Like, bro, all I
legit,
said was
legit.
Tupac wasn't that great. Like, he has a lot of controversial lines opposed to his, like, philosophies. And niggas would just be like, bro, who the fuck are you to say that? Like, is you his dad, nigga? I'm like,
Yo, we got
bro,
to like a
calm shit.
68 comment like debate, bro, with like
You out
a
here
thread of
defending
like
him like he your
replies.
brother, dog. Like, you know what I mean?
Listen, all right, all right. I'm gonna say I will say this. I will say this in retrospect to like how like old heads view like 90s shit versus like how we view the shit that we listen to now. So one thing that I kind of drew back to when it comes to listening to just music in general is that people are always going to respond to a feeling and or emotion regardless of how it's conveyed. The more they feel this shit, the more they're gonna back it up. The more that they
Right.
relate to it, the more that they can understand the feeling, the more they're gonna like be like, yeah, I fuck with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like sometimes you really have to draw it out for certain people, and I feel like if there was anybody that did that really, really well back in the day, it was Tupac. You know what I'm saying? So like that's why old heads will be on your ass if you even like talk sideways out your neck about the nigga.
Very
Because
fair.
they're like, oh, he's like the greatest rapper alive. But if you really think about it, he wasn't a top lyricist, not in the slightest. But you did feel what he was saying.
Right.
100%. Like, regardless if you loved him or hate him, you did know what he was talking about. You were kind of like, you know what? I feel him. I may not necessarily like the style. I may necessarily know a couple of people that are better than him. I do, however, feel what he's talking about. So
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, yeah, of course, Tupac, best rapper in our generation. But like, they're talking about the fact that he was able to like translate lyricism and emotion at the same time, make those two things mesh, and actually say certain things and actually talk about things, as opposed to like a lot of other rappers back in the day that more or less just had like a lot of lyrical ability, but it kind of loses direction after a while.
With
You
no
know what I
real
mean?
Yeah.
substance.
And
Yeah.
the reason why like so many artists that are still on that boom bap lyrical shit is because they themselves fall into that same category where they have all this ability, all this delivery, all this, all the banging beats and all the they do a lot of this. but
Right.
like, what are they saying? What is happening? Where's the emotion? Where's the feeling? Where's the sauce? Where's the fucking?
Oh yeah.
Where's the flavor, bro? Where's the where is it at? Like, I don't know where it is, bro. We don't see it. We don't feel that shit. And the folks that do feel the shit are usually folks that are practically just gatekeeping because they think that rapping fast means you're rapping good.
Eminem.
Yo,
Criminal.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it, bro.
Don't get me started, bro. Don't get me started. But like, I will say this. If folks just continuously gatekeep and then don't understand, you want to know who my favorite, like my all-time favorite like rap group is, like of all time? I have two of them, by the way.
Who?
I have Leaders of the New School and A Tribe Called Quest. You want to know why?
Tribe Called Quest. Ooh.
Because A Tribe Called Quest, they were kind of in the same vein that a lot of people saw in Tupac, where it was like, you kind of just felt a vibe from what it is that they were saying. It wasn't necessarily something that a lot of people could understand, but it also wasn't necessarily something that a lot of people could get down with, but it was like, they would just say certain things, you would be like, that's a cool ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a cool ass dude. Like, you would see Q-Tip and be like, that's a cool ass dude. You would see Phife, be like, that's a cool ass dude. And then they would do songs like Scenario with, like, you know, Leaders of the New School with, like, you know, Charlie Brown, Busta Rhymes, and you know what I'm saying? Like, they would just do shit that was cool. And people were like, I kind of feel it because, like, there's a lot of cool energy emitting from it. And it doesn't sound like they're trying too hard. It just kind of feels like it's a natural thing where it's like, you know what? This person is saying something, but I don't necessarily feel like they're trying to pander to a certain audience when they say it. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest hurdle for a lot of, you know, lyrical rappers, to the point where it becomes like, is this person being performative? Are they pandering to certain people? Or is what they're saying actually authentic? You know what I mean? Are they saying this because there's a market for it? Or are they saying this because this is a genuine experience that they've had themselves? And that's what music listeners want out of everything. You know what I mean? That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear a nigga rapping on a fucking track for 5 minutes, not saying the goddamn thing. I don't want to hear a nigga say, go with the back, with the back, with the gap, with the
that lyrical miracle, bro.
Cut that shit off.
Don't you dare say that about Jid. Don't you do that. Don't you do Jid like that.
I would never do. Listen, he's actually like my favorite. He's actually like one of my favorite artists. He's like super dope.
Yeah, like, he's fair. It's fair. It's just his voice. It's just hilarious to me.
So, Tashawn, I have a question for you.
All
right, given your music career, would you be willing to do whatever they want you to do just to blow up, and then once you blow up, continue doing your more authentic self and like keep doing music that you want to do?
Okay, that is a very good question. So, one thing I learned is that in some capacity, when it comes to music, when it comes to anything in general, in some capacity, you have to make very specific sacrifices. You know what I mean? You have to make very specific sacrifices. And this doesn't necessarily, some people will sacrifice things that don't need to be, but like, what I mean by this is that you have to make sacrifices to make sure that your message gets out. Like, for example, a lot of people will argue against simplifying your message. There's a difference between dumbing it down and simplifying it. You know what I mean? When you simplify a message, you're pretty much just trying to make sure that like certain people are going to pick up and be like, oh yeah, I know these words, but he is communicating something very intellectually gripping for me. You know what I mean? So while somebody could literally be like, oh yeah, like that's what a lot of people like about J. Cole. It's not necessarily that he's saying anything that's like dumb, or like he's not necessarily dumbing down like very, you know, quote unquote intellectual phrases for certain people. Is that he's simplifying them. So even the dumbest of motherfuckers could be like, wow, he's really you know what I'm saying?
That's the complete opposite of the meme too. It's like, oh, you got to be a certain type of intelligence. Listen to
but it's like, yeah, and it's just like, yeah, we all know how the meme goes, but it's like literally this certain level of intelligence is just average knowledge of just basic reading and writing, which surprisingly a lot of people don't know how to do.
Nigga, you better go on genius.com. What type of shit?
No, but I'm saying like, but I will say this, right? I've been watching like a lot of like videos, like YouTube videos. I've been watching a lot of music videos. I've been watching a lot of shit, right? So if there's one thing that I learned from that specifically is that a lot of people don't know how to read and or write in English. So like the weirdest
I'm
thing
surprised.
ever is that like you like when you're potent enough to the point where it's like the people will listen to the beat and then be like, that's a feeling that I can get behind. You know what I mean? That's a feeling that I can get behind. And I feel like The Weeknd does a really good job of that because it's like you can literally play this nigga anywhere and everybody's like, oh yeah, this song's about this. Even if they don't even understand what the fucking lyrics are about. You know what I'm saying? That's like anime openings like 101. It's like nobody knows what the fuck is being said, but we feel what's going on.
You really do. You really do.
You know what I'm saying?
That do Attack on Titan opening, bro. You just feel that shit.
You just feel like that's what I'm saying. It's just music in general. You just feel that shit 100%. But like what I'm trying to say is like when you simplify a message, you're not taking away from the integrity of the message. So by literally just like going by and being like, you know what? I'm gonna simplify this message a little bit more. I'm gonna like, try to not use like so many specific references because a lot of people liked a lot of songs that I did because I made anime references, but like I try to like do that less, not necessarily because like I don't necessarily want to give people a personality. It's more or less like I want to do that a little bit less because if I'm going to communicate a message, I don't want to personalize it too much.
Right.
I don't want to make it seem like it's only something that I could, take in or like have it be something that only I can relate to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
Like if I'm gonna do something like that, it's gonna be like, yeah, that's cool. But it's like if you're gonna make a song for like, everyone else, if you're gonna make a song that everybody else can turn up to, if you're gonna intentionally do stuff like that, then that's what you do. You have to make that decision. But thankfully for myself, I've never had to get to a certain point where it was like, you know what? I have to, simplify and or subtract what it is that I'm saying for the integrity of other people. Even though that is like a very interesting thing to do because like a lot of people just want to kind of use music as a way to like, using commercials or like YouTube videos, like when it's marketable enough and like people actually see like some kind of relatability and it's like, oh yeah, like I just really like this song, so I'm just gonna put it on like a YouTube channel, or like, oh, this makes me think of a fight scene, so like let me just like do that, like with MF Doom in the Boondocks. You know what I'm saying? Like the creator literally listened to like an MF Doom song and was like, yo, you don't know what this makes me think of? It makes me think of a fucking anime fight scene between a child and a grown ass man with a fucking afro. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what they got from that. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a lot of ways that you can just like, just like kind of just put your shit out and then be like, you know what? Maybe I could just simplify it and then just be like, you know what? I have to understand exactly what it is that I'm doing. And if people see this as that, then that's how they're gonna, exercise it, or that's how they're gonna do it. Like for example, with every single UFC undisputed movie that comes out, there's always an Eminem song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's always like people like when it comes to like marketing yourself as a musician, it's like if you're planning on making a song like that, then you can do it, but it's like the entire goal shouldn't be like, oh yeah, like these people are gonna like this because it sounds like this. It should be like, you know what? Does this sound personal? Like, does this sound like a personal thing that I can do? Does it sound like something that I would actually like say with my whole chest? Like, does it sound like something that I would actually do for real, for real? You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference between like, dumbing something down versus simplifying it. Because when you simplify something, the integrity is still there as opposed to dumbing it down, which makes it sound performative. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's pretty. I wanted to ask you this question real quick. That was a great topic, by the way. But this is a little more personal because this involves all of us because we around the general area. You made a post, and I really like this because it was the first time I seen somebody's take on this. But it was like, Boston rappers not supporting each other, right? And your take was actually refreshing because you were like, it's not that we don't support each other; it's the area of Boston itself. And how it's really expensive to live here, and how getting a show, booking a show, and like putting your music out there is actually really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
They want to like
No.
elaborate on.
There is a lot that I'm going to say about that. I'm just gonna let you know right now. Like
Oh,
I was
go.
like,
I'm well
that's
for it
for it,
because
bro.
I love that. Like, I loved your take. It was perfect.
Okay,
Floor is
okay.
yours.
I'm going to elaborate on this. You want to know the Boston music scene? You want to know the Boston music scene in a nutshell? Hold up. Was it Aerosmith or was it fucking or was it Aerosmith or was it ACDC that came out of Boston? Let me.
Aerosmith, I think.
Aerosmith.
It was Aerosmith, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to know what the Boston music scene is in general? It's a whole bunch of fucking white dudes that have all the connections in the world, all the money in the world. They see a whole lot of stuff bubbling, but do you want to know why they don't necessarily want Boston to be like, this huge fucking labyrinth? It's because they're waiting for the next white Aerosmith. 1000%. Like, they saw Aerosmith and they were making platinum records. They were doing this. They were doing that. Blah, 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 blah. But guess what Aerosmith had? They had fucking label connections. They had people that were actually moving the songs for them. They had people that were like, you know what? We're going to move your song from here to California, to Texas, to Illinois, et cetera, et cetera. They had people that did that. You know what I'm saying? They had actual teams behind that. You want to know why? Because they were a whole bunch of fucking white dudes that knew how to rock and roll, knew how to turn up a fucking crowd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they learn how to personalize that message so much to the point where it's like, when you heard Aerosmith, it was like, yo, legends, 1000%.
I just heard screaming. That's it.
But like what I'm saying, but like, you know what I'm saying, right? It's like when it comes to Boston, they hate, and I mean this, a lot of people, it's been proven, like at the Boston Music Awards, like there was a time where they literally tried to like keep Boston artists away from that. I'm like a lot of Boston hip hop artists away from that. Like that was recent. That was like almost like 10 years ago. They were like Mo Pope from Still Gold. He literally had to challenge and be like, yo, y'all some bitch ass niggas for trying to take away hip hop as like a genre for the Boston Music Awards. Y'all got me fucked up. I've been at this for too goddamn long. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. Y'all niggas got me folded. He said it respectfully. Like, it's like the most fucking office setting corporate language that I've ever seen in my life in a letter. Well, like, how I read it was like, y'all some bitch ass niggas for trying to erase fucking hip hop culture from Boston. And like, the thing is, he never swore in it, but it was like a long ass letter and everybody hopped on board and they was like, why are you guys trying to do this? And then they were like, oh, no, we're not going to try to do that. We're not going to try to do that no more. You know what I'm saying? But it just further proves that these niggas just really, like, they desperately want another Aerosmith. And they're just like, you know what? Rock and roll is dead. Rock and roll is this. Rock and roll is that. Straight up, when it comes to, like, stuff like that, it's like, yeah, like, they were just like, oh, like, we're not going to try to do that again. We're not going to try to do that again. We're not going to, blah, 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 blah. But, like, when we really start thinking about it, it's like a lot of people around here, they're just like, oh, I can't believe rock is dead. I can't believe rock is this. And I can't believe rock is whatever. You want to know why? Because you're not being inclusive and you're not being real with yourselves. You niggas only see numbers. You only see the fact that people are going to be like, oh yeah, like this song got like 13 million views. But like, that's just because of the labels backing it up. And like, people just kind of see it on the radio. It gets played on the radio 90 fucking times. But like, Rage Against the Machine, like they losing awards to like some weird ass niggas that just have like, chest hairs and titties. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, literally, like these niggas just got sick pack. They just got good bodies, bro. But like niggas that actually have something to say, like they're getting completely snubbed and overshadowed by niggas that aren't really saying that much. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they see that and they're just like, oh, I don't understand why rock music is dead. I don't understand why this. But like, y'all niggas ignore people like Camp Blood.
Okay.
Where's the consistency there now? You know what I'm saying? Like indie rock bands that are around here that have, people of color that are like, actually out here singing and like doing whatever it is that they got to do. But it's like a lot of the time, a lot of the people that are saying certain things, you're just like, nah, I don't think they don't want to hear that. So like, let's just not give it a chance.
Right.
How do you expect anything to come alive when you are literally trying to like not like give it any kind of life? You literally have the tools and the options to do so, but you refuse to because they're not Aerosmith. Suck my dick, actually. That's unfucking
bro. Emphasis.
Disrespectfully.
So
Disrespect.
No, disrespectfully. But like, and like that's just the Boston music scene in general. Like at least like the racist part. The non-racist part is more or less like making it is like giving us money so we can practically just prove like a whole bunch of people how not racist they are. You know what I'm saying? And that's just white liberalism in general. But like
Pack that later.
the reason why like I kind of brought that up is because I only wanted to scratch the surface and actually give people a new perspective, because whenever people are talking about like, oh, like niggas don't want to like, you know what I'm saying, like they don't want to come to no show, bro. The Middle East is $20 a fucking ticket. If I don't know you, I'm not spending $20 to come see you.
Nope.
That's grocery money, nigga. Are you stupid? Like I'm not spending $20 to see a nigga I don't know.
Exactly.
Especially if I'm behind on bills.
And
Like-
Boston.
I've seen
Like
niggas
who,
go
like,
for a Drake
like,
concert.
like who's gonna be like, damn, like I got a family to feed. Like, you know, I'm supposed to be using this money because like I promised my children McDonald's, but like, yo, fucking Beta Cuck 617 is performing at fucking Middle East. Like, are you serious?
Beta Cuck 617.
Oh man, bro.
Are you fucking serious? Like, what? Like, you got me. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Like that's just a lot of it in a nutshell. And it's like a lot of people that say stuff like that, they don't necessarily get a lot of opportunities, and they kind of just project that over other people. But when you see those same people that are also performing, they have very fucking stiff ass energy. They have very stiff and like awkward like performances. They have awkward songs. It doesn't seem like they actually like, you know what it is that they're doing. It's like they just kind of go into the studio and then they're just like, oh yeah, like I heard an NBA Youngboy song, so like now I can be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? It's like shit like that. And it's like you can't expect people to pay $60 if you're like not popping like that. And it's like it's sad, but it's true. Like no one's coming to see you for $20 at the Middle East if they don't know about you, if they don't think you're established. It's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. Like not in a million years, especially if people are behind on bills. Like, listen, like the biggest, like the reason why I say this is because like whenever like I used to have the same mindset where like, oh, nobody like, you know, supports people. But then I went to a show at the Middle East that had an all Cambridge bill. Everybody that was on the fucking Cambridge bill that was like, yo, I'm just out here just doing whatever it is that I need to do. Like, I wasn't a part of it. And there were a lot of other fucking Cambridgian artists that were also there. But they were basically just like in their own circle, just like, you know, let's just put a show together. And that's exactly what they did. And I showed up to that and I was like, you know what? This is fucking cap. People saying, oh, nobody wants to support. It's like, listen, people know that they get down. They're like, yo, we know what we came here to see. We know what we're doing here. You feel me? Like they're not like, oh, like I don't know this guy. It's like they came with their friends and they're like, oh yeah, like my friend is a huge fan of so and so, so like we're about to go pull up on him. You feel me? Like that's just what it was 90% of the time. And it's like most of the time those dudes started off in like house shows. Like they started off in like somebody fucking basement doing free shows. They would just have parties and then be like, yo, I'm about to perform, and then they perform and then people fuck with it. And they're like, yo, that shit was lit. Like, yo, like I can't wait till we have another party. And then they would just keep doing that until like they accrued like enough fans and been like, yo, like we're just gonna go ahead and do a show at the Middle East because enough people are gonna show up.
That's smart.
You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't making excuses for it. And nobody makes excuses when they actually have like when they actually like sit back and observe the fucking situation. Because that show also had people that had $20, but guess what? They knew what they was getting themselves into. You know what I'm saying? If nobody knows who you are, if they're like, oh yeah, you're just an artist. All right, cool. I've heard that before. I know a lot of artists myself. You're not them though, and I don't know anything about you. I don't even know how you perform. I don't even know how your songs sound. I don't even know if they're like good enough for me to be spending $20 fucking real life dollars, to watch you perform. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot that goes into it, but like again, a lot of people that say stuff like that, they're just not necessarily thinking about what's really going on. But like, aside from that, like let's say the artist is actually pretty fucking good, and it's like they do house shows, nigga. How the hell are you gonna pay bills?
If they just do house shows and like don't have anybody pay for it?
like the thing is like that's the thing. It's like when you're doing house shows, it's like you have to understand that like there's a small possibility that you're gonna get paid for that. A very small possibility. And even if there is money coming through, it's like the city's gonna try to shut the shit down because they're like, oh, you ain't got no permit.
Exactly. Yeah.
You feel me? So it's like even if you do try to make money off of that, they're gonna try to shut that shit down. You know what I'm saying? So like it makes it even worse. It makes it even worse when folks are just kind of like, oh, we just gotta like, you know, just like go to the Middle East and open for somebody big, and then that's gonna make everybody fuck with us. Like, no, that's not how it goes. But like when you're doing house shows, it's also like, yeah, you gotta think about rent. And it's like if you're overworking yourself and you don't necessarily know what you're about to do with like your own fucking bills or whatever, and it's like you're just pretty much overspending working 2 jobs just to work in Boston. And then you occasionally have house shows, like niggas is gonna be tired as fuck. There's like very little vitamin D here in the wintertime. You know what I'm saying? But like that's what people usually do when they're out here, and it's like they actually have like, you know, they put hella like strain, and they like live hella fucking cheap in like, you know, really small spaces just so they can have house shows. You know what I'm saying? And Austin is like probably like, you know, the best place to live if you're like, you know, a musician, because the rent there is kind of sort of cheap, and 90% of the time you're gonna be surrounding yourself with other musicians. So again, like, don't try to be like, oh, niggas ain't supporting each other. It's like you don't know that to be the case, and you're the only thinking with a singular mindset where it's like, oh, I have to be the one that blows up. I have to be the one that does this shit. I have to be the one that benefits from like everybody's support. But like the thing is like I had to learn that because I had like a 21st birthday party, and it was mad funny because this shit was actually way more lit than any show that I've actually done aside from the BMAs that I did in like what 2015 or 2016. But like aside from that, one of the littest motherfucking shows that I've done. Like I have favorites, but like that was one of them because it was like there wasn't so much elitism there. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing that a lot of Boston artists like to talk about when they talk about this particularly. A lot of those same artists have this really false narrative of elitism where it's like they have to be the best person in the room or the most like sophisticated, the most like best, like they have to be the most like
They have to be at the top of
turn and the loudest person in the room. They always have to be the most sophisticated and the loudest in the room in order to like, you know, be able to make points like that. But 90% of the time, it's like they just kind of say like a whole, like they like kind of bring like a whole bunch of, you know, unrelated facts to the whole thing, and they say them really quickly so nobody will notice it. It's like Ben Shapiro, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, you can say a whole bunch of, you can spit a whole bunch of facts. It's like the consistent, like, you know, whatever. It's like you could spit a whole bunch of whatever it is that you want to say. You could say something really fast, but like it's not gonna mean anything if it doesn't, like, you know, have context to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like when people have this conversation, it's like it's never in any kind of context. It's always quote unquote too generalized when you could just, you know, stand on your own 2 fucking toes. I mean, 2 fucking feet. I'm sorry, I'm being stupid. You can stand on your own 2 fucking feet and be like, yo, so I'm just, it's just me. I'm the one that's not getting the support in Boston. And I'm mad about that. You could just, like, I would respect that so much more than a nigga being like, there's no support here altogether. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
At least I'll be like, you know what? Like, if you need some support, you know, come to the shows, bro. Like, you know, I want to see what you got. Like, come to the shows. Like, send me some of your stuff. Like, I want to see what you got going on. It's like, I want to hear some of your music. It's like, I want to kind of bring you out to some of these shows because, like, that's what artists around here do. We're not going to sit here and be like, oh, that nigga might blow up. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that nigga's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, that nigga, like, I've, like, take it from me, I've dealt with that where it's like, I literally put niggas on and then they act like they didn't know me, but it's like, I'm not going to get mad about that. I don't give a fuck. Like, at the end of the day, it does kind of feel a little bit weird because it's like, why are you going to know me if I gave you this opportunity? But a lot of people have too much pride to admit that.
Yeah, and it's weird,
like,
bro.
But it's also like, I don't give a fuck. It's just like at the end of the day, like, you're getting your shit right. And it's like, that's all I want to see. Like, if I see talented niggas, I just want people to be like, yo, like, you got to be able to see this. That's what music is about. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
strictly about like finding something cool and then showing your friends. It's like a fucking action figure that you always, it's like the toy at McDonald's that you used to get. It was always like, oh yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, look at this fucking Shadow Game Boy that I got. Oh shit, you got Shadow, I got Sonic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
exactly. What you, exactly.
So it's like, you know, like it's like it's that feeling right there where it's like you show somebody an artist and you're like, yo, do you know who this person is? And you're like, nah. And it's like, yo, this is kind of tough. You know what I'm saying? That's what music exists for. It's literally about like, oh yeah, like, you know, I really like what's going on here, and I could just listen to this, and then it's like, oh yeah, like, did you hear about this person? That's how it spreads. You know what I mean? It's always about like, oh, like, do you know this person? Yeah, I know them. They're making some pretty cool shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
And
exactly.
that's what it is. And it's like a lot of people like that, like like the at least have some kind of self-awareness to be like, you know what? Maybe niggas just don't know who I am. And that's fine too.
Yeah. I'll
Like,
say one thing. I've noticed one thing from the minute like I started following your music closely. I noticed the difference between people that don't follow a lot of other Boston artists and people that actually do. And that's the one thing I've noticed is the people that say that immediately, like, oh, Boston don't support each other. I feel like they're not in a circle or close together with the Boston, like, because I'll say like everybody that's in Boston music, like if you're actually in the industry, you all are close together. So I feel like it's like a lot of the people on the outside that just don't really understand that, and they're just kind of just like, oh yeah, it's not me. Like I think my music's great, and it's like they just don't know. And I feel like if they're by doing that, they're doing themselves a disservice. That's something I've just noticed like people do.
yeah, and what's even worse is like I could never even say that, and it's like I don't even think I'm the most established as of right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I have people that know me that talk about me through the grapevine, and that's cool too. But it's like I don't even think that I'm like all that established at the end of the day. I think I could do a lot better in terms of like garnering more listeners. But like when it comes to that, it's like that's false because like I just know good people. You know what I'm saying? Like I've known a singer named Ava Sophia for at least like a year or two now, right? And I met Ava. I forgot where I met Ava. I think I met her at I think I met her at the Museum of Fine Arts. I think that's where. I think that's where. But like I could be wrong. But like we literally met. We were hanging out. She listened to a song that I did like a few years ago, and like years later, she was like, "Yo, do you want to do a song together for the Boston Music Awards?" Like she got me my first fucking nomination. You know what I'm saying? Like if that's not support, my nigga, I don't know what is, bro. That you can't do that in Boston if that's not support, my nigga. Like the fact that I was literally just out here, like I didn't even drop a song like for like the remainder of the year, and like I was on like a few people's like projects. They reached out to me. They were like, "Yo, you like I really want you to be on my very first project." And I was like, "Yeah, sure thing. Let's do it." You know what I mean? And like since then, like a lot of those people would be like, "Oh my god, like I know Tashawn. He was on that Red Shades album." Or Oompa plays his music a lot. Or like, "Oh yeah, he did a song with Ava Sophia." Like, that's not support? You don't know niggas? Like, you feel me? Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Really?
like that's support. And it's like regardless of like whether or not like whatever your definition of what support is, it's just like you have to understand that like the support is going to be there. Niggas just don't know who you are yet. And that is the key to like actually garnering any kind of support or just any kind of like connection with anybody, because like you aren't entitled to anything because you make music. Okay, a lot of people have come to that realization very fast. You know what I'm saying? They just thought like, oh, like I'm just gonna make a whole bunch of music and niggas is just gonna fuck with me just because I'm making music. A lot of people are now doing this as hobbies. A lot of people are just like, oh, I'm never gonna make it out of the hood with this, so I might as well just do it as a hobby and just be like, yeah, I'm just a guy that does like whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because they felt too fucking entitled to be like, you know what? Maybe I actually have to do some of the legwork and actually talk to people and learn about people, or i.e., fucking say something of merit, or say something that people want to listen to, or say something that's authentic. That's simple. You know what I mean? You can just say something that's authentic to you. It doesn't matter how fucking stupid or smart it is. Just say something authentic. As long as people get that from you, you're good. Doesn't matter if it's good or if it doesn't matter if it's good or not. People are gonna fuck with it. If they get some level of authenticity out of you, they're gonna fuck with you, 100%. So there is no such thing as there's no support in Boston. Trust me when I say this, there is no support anywhere. If you really have a mentality where it's like, I'm gonna move somewhere else, because I've seen niggas move to Atlanta and then move right the fuck back. I've seen niggas move to Cali, move right the fuck back.
Yo,
Down catastrophic.
no, bro.
Down her right.
Like, bro, like niggas think that really moving. Like, here's the deal: if I ever wanted to move to Atlanta, I'm not gonna move to Atlanta because I want to be a more successful musician there. I want to move there for the fucking weather. God damn it, I'm tired of the weather. Jesus, I am sick and fucking tired of the weather. I'm tired of being tired 90% of the fucking time because it's too goddamn cold outside.
Yeah.
Like, that should be lowering my blood pressure. I be getting heated. Like, I have so much energy. I have so much energy when, like, it's warm outside. It's not even fucking funny. Like, I have so much goddamn energy. I'd be dead ass, like, going to the gym and, like, going there for hours when it's warm out. And I'd be walking around and shit. Like, I'm tired of that, bro. I'm not gonna go to Atlanta because, like, you know, there's more support over there. I'm not gonna go to fucking Texas or fucking Louisiana because, you know, the music scene's kind of booming out there.
Like, are you forgetting you have a Boston accent still? Like, they don't fuck with you out there. They don't fuck with you.
Strong ass accent too.
Because I'm like, yo, what's good with this nigga, dog? Like,
nigga, oh yeah, I knew this nigga since diapers, bro. Nigga, what? All right. You can literally just be like, I'm not Boston. Like wear it on your fucking 10. Like, that's why Cousin Stiz, because like that's why niggas fuck with Cousin Stiz, because regardless of where he was, niggas knew he was from Boston. Point blank, period.
facts.
Niggas knew he was from Boston. Just like me, it's like I could go anywhere else. I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm from Cambridge. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be like, oh, so you with them Harvard niggas? I'm gonna be like, I actually work there. Yes. You know what I'm saying? like that's just what it is. You can like say shit like that and say it with your fucking chest. Just because you like from somewhere, you don't have to be ashamed of this shit, but at least fucking be like, you know what? I'm gonna sit here and talk about what it's like to be a Bostonian. That's literally
be that person, man.
That is the only thing that people fucking care about, especially if you're gonna go to another state and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna go to another state. I'm gonna be like, okay, let me just like, you know, show you what it's like to be a kid from Cambridge, or let me show you what it's like to be a kid from Cambridge that traveled the world, or let me show you what it's like to be a kid from Cambridge that traveled around the world and actually made something of himself, and what I learned along the way, and what I kind of just want to do with the rest of my life. That's like, people want to hear that. Like, as surprising as it is, like, if you make it sound lit, people are gonna fuck with it. Point blank, period. So like the whole argument where it's like, oh, all I gotta do is just move to California. I'm gonna be in LA. I'm gonna be this. Nope, they're not gonna give a shit over there either.
It's actually harder in those areas
here
too.
don't even give a shit. Like, niggas
Really
here
not
don't
no
even care. What makes you think they're gonna care down there? Like, that, like, niggas don't, like, that's just what it is. It's like, you have to understand that, like, niggas just do not care. Especially if you're going to make excuses and be like, oh yeah, I don't know anybody here, but nobody shows me support because I don't go to any of the fucking shows. I don't share nobody's shit. I don't hang out with people. The most human fucking thing you can do is hang out with people. You can't even do that because you're too goddamn entitled. Get the fuck up out of here.
Yeah.
That's just outside. Like, let's say you're able to pay bills and you're saying shit like this. Like, fuck off. Like, a lot of the people that I know that have had like the biggest struggles here that literally moved somewhere else because they couldn't pay bills here, they're currently in Atlanta right now. Because they're like, bruh, I would love to have a fucking scene out here, but I can't fucking afford it. I'm tired of living in in spaces that are too far. I don't have a goddamn car. Like, my shit keeps breaking down because the parts are fucked up. I'm tired of this shit. I want to go somewhere else where I can live dirt cheap and just do what I got to do.
Which is fair.
That's what they do. That's what the smart niggas do. A lot of the other motherfuckers, they go over there. They're like, oh, I think I'm hot shit because I got 2,000 plays on SoundCloud, so I'm gonna move to Atlanta now.
Yeah.
Like, is that Atlanta SoundCloud, my man's? Because I don't know if them 2,000 plays are area you moving to right now.
Like niggas get 2,000 plays on SoundCloud. Talk about moving to LA. Like, all right,
Like them skateboard
Alright,
niggas ain't
buddy.
listening to you, dog.
all right, awesome, good, cool story, bro. Honestly, unfucking believable. You can't do that. Like not even like we can switch the topic after this, but like straight up and down, like the best piece of advice, just for anybody. You don't even have to listen to me. Like
Right.
you can take the advice as how you want, but like the only thing that you really have to do is just understand your support system. It doesn't matter if it's your friends, it doesn't matter if it's the people that you went to see shows with. Just understand that there is people out here that are gonna fuck with you. You know what I mean? And regardless of that, it doesn't even matter. Like if you don't think that you're gaining enough support, as long as you have the support of like the people that you really, really fuck with, and you're saying something that's worth listening to, and you're saying something that like people are going to feel, they're gonna be like, yep, that is his story. That is exactly like his words coming from him, not anybody else. That's him. You know what I'm saying? Like the more people can distinct you from other folks, the way better off you're going to be. So if you're gonna be sitting here saying, oh, like, you know, nobody supports me, again, nobody knows who the fuck you are. Niggas will tag me in statuses like that, and I don't know who the fuck they are. You damn right I'm not going to support you. I'm definitely not going to now because you mad at me because I don't know you.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Supposed to know them. Come on now, that's on you.
You already know who it is. No, the fuck we don't, my man.
And they
I
start
already know
like
what's
that.
literally.
Motherfuckers hop on a feature.
First project, my man.
His
You don't
first
know
ever
shit about
track.
nothing.
Y'all already know who it is. Really?
It's embarrassing. Like they hop on a feature, like, yo, you already know who it is. Like motherfuckers in the studio, like,
Do we?
When they go like, sorry for the wait, ain't nobody was waiting, nigga.
motherfucker, you begged me for this.
If my nephew can't tell me who you are, bro, you not hot. That's all I can say.
That's facts. Like that's the thing. It's like, and here's the deal. A lot of people would be like, oh, like a lot of people would get on me because like I'm like super humble about it or I'm super modest about it, and I'm just like, bro, I just don't like having the conversation where it's like my name ring bells, nigga. Fuck is you talking about? Like I don't like having that conversation.
We're still in the same spot, so it's like, does it matter? I'm still here.
Yeah, exactly. That's the real thing where it's like, listen, I can say whatever I want and people are gonna be like, yeah, my name ring bells, it's lit. But like that conversation doesn't actually mean nothing because it's like, you know what? Not only am I still here, but it's also like I still have a lot of things that I still need to air out. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that I still need to be saying. You feel me? So like at the end of the day, it's like whatever. Like a lot of folks know, but it's also like, you know what I'm saying? I still want to actually get somewhere else rather than just being like, you know what? I'm just going to be like, yeah, like I'm just famous out here in these streets. Like niggas know who I am.
Okay.
Like, okay, that's cool. Like at the end of the day, like their perception of me is never going to be accurate anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like who they saw me as yesterday could be a completely different nigga from now. So at the end of the day, it's like whatever you heard from them, you can hear a lot of things from certain people. At the end of the day, that doesn't necessarily define who I am because I get to choose, I get to make that decision for myself. So, you know what I'm saying? That's all that really matters to me at the end of the day. It's like it's that right there. And it's like that's what I feel is more important than just being like, oh yeah, like look at my credentials. Like, cause like credentials to me, it just means like, all right, cool. Like I got this, like, you know, at the end of the day, whether it was luck or not, it was like, this is just something that I've done before. I don't need to base my life off of things that I did in the past when I know what I want to be doing currently.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of just, you know, hinging myself to being like, oh yeah, like, you know, I once did this one thing. It's like, okay, I could do better though. I feel like if I did get another space like this, or if I did do better, I'm going to say something that is probably going to piss people off. And that's good, because that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do that. I want to make people angry. I want people to look at me and be like, oh, like, this nigga, he don't know what he's talking about. Yes, I do. It is like, And that's the thing. It's like I want to do that, and that's good. I don't want people to be like, oh, like he's so nice, he's such a sweetheart. I'm gonna be like, nah.
Nah,
I'm gonna be
buddy.
like, nah, I'm an asshole. Like when it comes to things that I like, I'm a sweetheart. But when it comes to things that I don't like, I'm petty as fuck, and I want to show that. That's what I want to be. I want to be both, because guess what? I am both.
Right.
So like, don't ignore that. Like, don't ignore that. You feel me? Like, if you want to be both, then be both. But at the end of the day, at least make it consistent with who you are as a person. But like, that's just what I gotta say. Just be authentic, straight up.
Yeah.
But what got all of this started? Like, what inspired you to start rapping in the beginning?
All right. So, oh yeah, this is the Roger that question. All right. So for folks that don't know, it's not gonna be a story where it's like, it's not gonna be the story where it's like, oh my god, I was so excited. Like I heard like the first rap song that I heard was I think it was To the Window, to the Wall, that was the first rap song that I've ever heard in my fucking life.
That's crazy.
The very first rap song that I heard in my life. And then I think my dad started playing like LL Cool J records and like a lot of, you know, old Kanye West, like Late Registration, Graduation, shit like that. So like my dad was really he was really like, you know, free forming like whatever the hell it was that I was listening to on a regular basis. He had a lot of the Lil Wayne, the Carter albums. He was playing a lot of those too. So like I just kind of like, that was how I was introduced to hip hop, and that's how I became a fan of hip hop. What started rapping though was when I started rapping. That was when I randomly just went into a room. I went into my room, and after a while, like I was just bored as hell. Didn't know what I was doing. I heard the song Roger That with Nicki Minaj, Tyga, and Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
I heard the song, and I was like, yo, listen, I want to write a rap to this now. I was like, I want to write a rap to this now. And I literally sat in that room the whole day, writing the shit down, writing all this and doing all that. I walk into the living room and I'm like, yo, guys, check this out. I wrote a verse to Nicki Minaj's Roger That. Oh. And then I rapped it for everybody. I wish I kept the fucking page. I wish I kept the page. I wish I kept it. But like literally, I heard Nicki Minaj's verse and I was like, bruh, I gotta do this now. I gotta start rapping. That was my very first verse. They was like, I really like that. Like, you should do more. And then I recorded it at Workforce. I recorded it at Workforce.
Right.
And then after that, everybody was like, oh, that's actually pretty good, Tay. That's really good. I'm like, oh, thank you. Let's go. Next thing you know, I started looking at Drake instrumentals, and then I was like, okay, we're just gonna keep going with this now. Literally,
humble beginnings, bro.
I have
The humble
not
beginnings.
stopped then. I have not stopped. Like I have literally been like just writing songs over and over and over again. I don't know what it was about Nicki Minaj's verse. I heard the bar, for some reason, I heard the bar flow tighter than the dick in the butt. And I was like, that's hard as fuck. I need to write something like cool. I need to write something raunchy. I need to write something like real like that. And I was like, why was that the bar that stuck out to me the most? I always wondered, I was like, why was that the bar that stuck out? Like, it wasn't anything Tyga said. It wasn't even anything Lil Wayne said. It was that one thing that Nicki Minaj said. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a rap verse now.
Got a tweet on once you win your first Grammy, like,
You know what got this started, bro? Look directly at Nicki like.
In the butt, you know what I mean? It really inspired me. It really spoke to me.
That's why we here right now.
Like that's what got us there. I mean, if anything, like there's a lot of other factors. Hold up, my arm started to hurt. There's a lot of other factors that like kind of prove that like I just didn't want to like stop. Like I honestly like I made my very first project when I was 14, but like that was just random shit that I found on the internet. And like occasional covers from like my favorite songs from the time. And I would like I was doing like, the regular nigga on the corner selling a mixtape for $5. That was me at one point,
Damn.
straight up and down. And I do not regret it. I think that is actually one of the best moments of my life.
What happened?
Huh?
What happened when you were selling?
What happened when I was selling them is that nobody bought them, but I still sold a few. And there was one person who was a senior at the time that bought it, and they were like, I really like this. This is really awesome. And I was gassed as fuck. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep selling them. I sold absolutely no fucking records because everybody was broke as shit. So like, I could have just handed them out for free and it would have been great. People were hoping that I would do that. But like my folks were like, nah, don't hand out your music for free because you want to get paid for this. You're good at what you do. So you want to like, but then I was like, but then no one's gonna listen. And then
There's
they're like,
levels.
no, it don't even matter. Like you have to make sure that people are gonna listen to you. Which I kind of understand now, but even to this day, I still feel like that's kind of snarky and slightly elitist. But like I was just kind of like, there's probably a way for me to like, make my music accessible, especially considering how nobody knows who the fuck I am.
Right.
Like there's a way I could do this without being super pretentious about it. But like high key, it was the best moment of my life because I was like, bro, this is actually something that I finished. I never finish things. like that was the one thing in my life where I was like, yeah, this is gonna be something that I see through to the end. Like I don't care what happens. This is going to be something that I'm going to see through to the end. Like, I don't care if like every project that I make is intentionally going to be my last project. If anything, I kind of want to write myself into a corner where it's like, I don't really have anything to say anymore. You know what I mean? And initially, that's how I felt about that project. I was like, if I never write another project again in my life, I'll be fine. And then I got more inspiration and I started hearing some new shit. And I was like, nope, I can't stop writing now. I gotta write something to this too. And then I kept hearing more shit. And I was like, all right, gotta write to this now. Gotta write to this too. Then I started meeting people and then they started telling me how I wasn't shit. And then I was like, all right, gotta write about that too. Like literally, it was like it's just like every single moment that I ever took the opportunity to write something, I'm like, I gotta do it. It has to happen. It has to happen. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. It has to happen. And it was really funny because it all started with me just literally sitting in a room and then just being like, oh my God, Roger that. Such a good song. Great song. Young Money. I was rapping like I was a part of Young Money at the moment. It was so fucking funny. Wow. And then like what's it called? I think I did my first, like I performed for the first time ever over the Death of Autotune beat in middle school. And I was wearing a tan sweater, baggy jeans, and I was looking at the ground the whole fucking time.
Did you have on Tim's?
Huh?
Did you have on Tim's?
Oh, that would have fit that would have matched the fit.
I don't even know. I might have.
Real nigga moment.
What's crazy is if I actually had a video of that day, I probably was wearing Tim's that day.
See? Real nigga moments, man.
Hey, humble beginnings, man. Humble beginnings.
No, for real. And it's so funny because like most of the music that I'm writing now is like I always have in the back of my mind where it's like, yo, like what would 14-year-old Tay think of like me right now? He would be like, yo, this is the coolest nigga ever. He would be like I feel like knowing that is a victory because it's like I actually ended up like, basing my entire like one of my projects on that, or like basically the project that I'm working on that. On just like the idea of just like metamorphosis and like imposter syndrome and things like that, right. Where it's like when we think about like changing certain things, it's like where exactly is that change coming from? Like what exactly is going to be happening around you? Like what kind of story do you want to tell? Like what took you so long to actually come out and start talking about shit like this? Like what exactly like what the fuck is going on? Like that's the real question. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of the times, like I write songs and then I'm just like, I want to apply it to something, but I don't know what yet. because I never really know what kind of message I want to, like, send out and put out to the world. I never really want to show people what it is that I'm doing. Because 90% of the time I don't even know. But when I actually started thinking about like what I was like when I was 14, when I was starting this out, like literally 10 years ago, I was just like, huh, what would I think of myself right now? Like, I've clearly grown. I'm a lot more comfortable. I'm a lot more like loose when I perform. Instead of me looking at the ground, I'm looking people right in the fucking face when like I'm like talking my shit.
Confidence.
So it's like there's a lot of more confidence there, but it's also like the idea of metamorphosis where it's like, is this something that's you're able to sustain? Is this something that like you're able to like keep up? Like, how often like are you going to like try to outperform yourself, or like how difficult is it going to be, and like what if you can't outperform yourself? Like, does that mean it's the end? Does it mean that like you don't have anything else more to say, or like does it mean that you're just like going like in a different direction from like what it is that you're doing? And I feel like after reflecting on where I started out versus where I am now, I feel like there isn't necessarily a sense of betrayal for like what I once was versus like what I am now. It's more or less a matter of just like, hey, like there is a difference. Like, things change, people change. All you really have to do is just accept that it is what it is. Like, things change, and like, not, albeit if it's for the better or worse, you just have to accept it and like, just roll with the punches. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think your younger self probably saw the world as like more black and white, and now that you grew up, you're like, there's a lot of gray areas, so I had to adjust. I had to do certain things that I never thought I'd have to do.
Yeah, like when I was 14, I thought I was gonna blow up just doing boom bap records and just talking shit about about other rappers. But like now that I've grown up and now that I understand the importance of just artists that more or less, like I had a conversation with like my friend Daryl about this, and I was pretty much just being like, you know what? Like when I was really young, I used to hate rappers like Lil B and Riff Raff and shit. I used to hate that because
Lil B is an icon.
yeah. Lil B is an icon, straight up and down. And honestly, like that is the only thing I regret doing when I was younger. That is the only thing I regret doing. The only bar I wish I could take back. The only bar I wish I could like go back in time and be like, you know what? Nah, don't say that. Lil B's a god. Don't do that. But like, I've grown an appreciation for artists like that, artists like him, artists like Blueface. I've grown such a huge appreciation for guys like that because they made me understand the reason as to why tradition is always going to fail, things that are meant to be creative. You know what I'm saying? Like people like that exist in our genre, exist in hip hop genre, not necessarily to make fun of it, but to break rules so we can build it the fuck back up again. So we can actually start, taking certain traditions and then laughing in their faces, spitting on it, stepping on it, and then making something different.
Right.
Because as much as people want to say this, Eminem, Joyner Lucas, and a lot of other fucking lyrical rappers love to shit on these types of guys, but guess what they're doing now? Rapping over trap beats.
You gotta adjust.
So clearly they're doing something right. You know what I'm saying? Because if we were all just rapping over these dusty ass fucking vinyl, fucking scratchy, fucking weird ass, flat ass production, and to be honest, even sometimes these lyrical rappers be rapping over flat ass production because they don't necessarily understand emotion and character. It's like, yeah, at some point you really gotta like, see these guys and be like, you know what? They're doing something that a lot of artists aren't doing right now. They're having fun. They're not taking themselves so goddamn seriously. They're being personal. They're being like, you know what? This is the dumbest fucking thing that I'm ever going to say, but guess what? It's me. That's all that matters. That's what their focus is. And it's like, back in the day, it's like, I used to think that it's you're either really good or you really suck. And that's something that changed my mind a lot because the idea of somebody sucking at what they do also shifted for me, because when it comes to music, people don't actually suck. You know what I'm saying? People aren't actually bad. It's more or less like either I don't understand it, I don't relate with it, or it's just all around a very shitty perspective in life. You know what I'm saying? Like people that are, again, lyrical rappers, like a lot of them have really shitty perspectives on life. And a lot of them kind of contradict themselves half of the time, which is also why a lot of people don't really like them or like include them in their top fives when it comes to music, or why they don't listen to them as often. Because a lot of their perspectives are very depressing, very shitty, and very just, they're just very pessimistic.
Right.
You know what I mean? And niggas don't want to hear that shit. You know what I mean?
Niggas don't want to, bro.
But like, then again, there's also like artists that I'll listen to where it's like, it's not that I don't like it, it's just that I feel like it's just boring. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of artists that I feel, and I'm not gonna say who, but like there's some artists where it's like I feel like their music is just kind of too laid back, too chill, too boring, too just like run of the mill, where it's like it doesn't sound like it's trying. It just kind of sounds like it's just laying down and just waiting for something interesting to happen. You know what I mean? And there's enough of that in my life already. But like that's just me not understanding that particularly.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just me not getting it. It's not that it sucks, it's just that I don't get it. You know what I mean? And then there's the whole, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, maybe this person is just gonna, you know, just kind of like fuck around and like, you know, just say whatever it is that they want to say. And I used to think those people sucked. But then I think about it now and I'm just like, you know what? It's not even that anymore, because they're fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? The reason why people like them is because they themselves are just like, you know what? I'm just going to say shit, and people just have to understand that I'm not taking it serious, that I'm not really going above and beyond and trying to like, you know, say something like super thought provoking, because I'm just having fun. Because albeit like though music is a very serious thing to do, it's also supposed to be fun. You know what I mean? So when I think about me being 14 and like, you know, following the tradition, it's because I thought that's how hip hop was supposed to be. You know what I mean? I was just starting out. But now that I've actually been involved, and now that I've actually seen things, now that I've actually experienced it for myself, it's like tradition in hip hop was meant to be fucking destroyed, because even the inclusion of what hip hop is was basically destroying rules and just like, you know, completely like not restricting themselves to whatever rules that were put in play. Like Grandmaster fucking Flash was literally the first guy to ever put like his fingers on turntables, because before niggas was like, nah, don't do that. That's weirdish. Like, nah, you're gonna fuck up the record like that. But nah, he said, fuck. He's like, so anyway, finger go burr. You know what I'm saying? Fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, like that's literally what he did, and it's just like now all of a sudden it's like you got niggas even now like sitting here scratching their asses off. No pun intended, but like scratching like on DJ turntables because of a rule that somebody else broke, and now they're also breaking that rule because it literally gave them a window to do other creative things.
Just wanted to say thank you for coming to our podcast and like talking about everything. Like I didn't expect all of this.
Yeah, as you can see, like the time, there's so much stuff we could go into, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, so what we have so far has just been so
really
fun.
Appreciate you coming in and giving us the time, especially given your busy schedule and everything. So I just wanted to say thank you, and everybody that's a part of the Zone Friends. Stay tuned, and we love y'all.